The Union Bears might not be roaring for too much longer, as Rangers have warned the fans that they may have to scrap the singing section at IBROX over issues of concern. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. And Rangers today have made a statement about the Ultras, about the Union Bears, and about the singing section at IBROX and the Copeland Road stand. So we have seen that in recent weeks, Rangers were hit with a suspended partial stadium closure after that banner in the Europa League clash at home to Fenerbahce. A banner that I thought was absolutely fine, was justified, and was just a way of fans showing concerns that they have. But obviously UEFA, they didn't feel that way. They felt it was offensive, etc., and that is why they hit Rangers with that suspended stadium ban. But now the club have now spoken about potential consequences going forward. They didn't specify the nature of the issues, but they did say that they have to beef up security over safety concerns, costs of this and fines, as well as a reputational consequence for the club, whatever that means. So Rangers will now be casting a watchful eye on the section, the Copeland Road section, for the remainder of the season, and admit they may be forced to close it for the 2025-2026 campaign, or at least certain games, if there are any further problems, and may bill punters to cover any extra costs incurred as a result. So, thoughts on that?
I'm not a happy man about this, right? And I called it out a couple of weeks ago. This board, Patrick Stewart, the Startup Enterprise, whatever you want to call it, they are selling their soul, and they're completely and utterly selling out for the San Francisco 49ers, right? And let's be honest, the low IQ individuals out there that were like, oh, make Rangers great again. The San Francisco 49ers has got absolutely the square root of hee-haw to do with Trump and Elon Musk. So make Rangers great. It's just a generalisation of America by pretending that because you're getting an American takeover, you're going to get Trump and Musk. You're getting the left-wing policies of fucking San Francisco.
Yeah,
probably the biggest left-wing city in America. Is it any surprise that over the past couple of months, all these different agendas have been forced down Rangers' throat? Fucking of course not.
Yeah, I'm not sure commercialising and wokeness is going to improve Rangers or make Rangers a better football club. I'm not seeing it, to be honest. I think you could be looking back in 5 years, assuming it does officially go ahead. I think you could be looking in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, and I think a lot of Rangers fans could be regretting this partnership.
Yep, and it's the same with the English leagues, right? They used to have a bit of more identity about them, but then look at all them. They all talk about how they got American owners and they lost their soul and they lost this, and we want games to take place in New York and then Delhi and Hong Kong, etc., etc. It is the reality, man. I mean, some people are brain dead. I don't want to bury people for the sake of it, but it's like when you hear this American takeover and people just automatically assume that everything about it's great. It's like the parallels are there. Where was Rangers celebrating LGBT, right? And the Muslim Etar event, or whatever it's called, before this takeover got mentioned.
Certainly not called that, like Eid Marabak or whatever it is.
No, it was like an Ifar event. That's what it was called.
Right, fair enough.
That's what Rangers called their event. See, 6 months ago, that doesn't happen. All right, it just does not happen. And the question is, are you willing to sell the soul of the club for league titles? Some people might be, but the reality is there's no guarantee in league titles.
I think the strange thing is, though, the club didn't come out and say what the issue was with the standing section. Like, why not address what has actually been sung or what has been said that has got the club concerned and has got the club beefing up security? Is it sectarianism songs, or what's the problem? They didn't elaborate on why they have these concerns and why they may need to close that section and why they're, like I said, bringing in more security and could potentially be fining the fans in that section of the stadium. But this is what the club statement said, and again, it's more or less just, it's like a warning, but without really going into any detail of what they're warning against. So the Rangers club statement reads, quote, IBROX is known as one of sport's most famous arenas, with the atmosphere generated inside our home being the envy of clubs across the globe. To further enhance that wonderful atmosphere, since the beginning of the 2024-2025 season, Rangers has provided a dedicated singing section located in the Copeland front at the traditional Rangers end of IBROX Stadium, and the noise and colour generated there can only be of benefit to Rangers teams in the future. Rangers remain committed to providing a singing section in the Copeland front for the forthcoming 2025-2026 season. However, the singing section also represents the club with heightened security, safety, and regulatory concerns. The issues of concern impact the match-going experience for other supporters and have financial and reputational consequences for the club. Accordingly, for the remainder of this season, the club will be monitoring the operation and the singing section and the behaviours of groups and individuals who frequent it. If the issues of concern continue, the club may reluctantly conclude that it is necessary to withdraw the singing section for the season 2025-2026 for certain matches, or indefinitely if deemed necessary for the safety of our supporters and or for the benefit of the club. Should this occur, Rangers will be in touch with affected season ticket holders to communicate what, if any, further action will be taken in accordance with Section 8 of its season ticket terms and conditions. The club also reserves the right, if the issues persist, to add a subcharge to the singing section to cover the additional costs incurred by the club resulting from these issues, including in the case of serious or persistent failure to adhere to the club grounds regulations and or the club's season ticket terms and conditions and or any club code of conduct. Rangers has engaged with some constituents of the singing section on its operation and will consult with others in due course. All supporters located in the singing section will be invited to collaborate on a code of conduct for the area to be introduced for the new season. The club would also like to remind supporters of the importance of upholding the same behavioural standards expected of Rangers supporters at IBROX in attending away matches both domestically and in Europe. The club's strongest asset is its supporters, and noise and colour provided by the singing section is hugely appreciated by everyone at the club. However, the backing cannot bring the name of Rangers into any further disrepute, nor compromise spectator safety within IBROX, and the club shall take any action it deems necessary to prevent any harm that it may be caused. End of quote. So basically, just warning about bringing the clubs or the club's reputation, I guess, into dispute. I mean, I think it's basically saying also like behaviour that could affect other fans in the stadium. So, I mean, I don't know why they're beating around the bush. Why not just come out and address certain songs or certain chants and say what group of supporters that it has offended, or what group of supporters that it is affecting? I just don't understand why they didn't come out and get straight to the point. It seems like they're firing a warning shot, but they're just, they're not addressing anything. They're just like, right here, if anything happens, then we may have to do this, we may have to do that. Obviously, something has happened. Obviously, there has been complaints, or there has been chants, or there's been songs, or there's been something that the club don't deem appropriate, but they're not coming out and clarifying what that is, and it's a very strange statement. What I mean, if it's a statement of nothing really.
Yeah, it's a nothing statement.
If you're going to make a statement, then why not actually address the issue?
Now, I know during that Fenerbahce game there was like stairs and passageways and exits blocked, and they blocked, and they were talking about this couple of weeks ago, supporter safety was on the line. No, I didn't see any proof of this, right? And I kind of said, well, what do they mean? Was someone blocking a door? Was someone blocking the stairs? An exit? I mean, it's like they weren't specific. It was like this. It was kind of just a generalisation of like, oh, well, there was just there was supporter safety was at risk. Like, I see fucking say what happened then. It was like, were people just simply standing on the stairs blocking people for like fire exits? I don't know.
Yeah, but this statement is pretty clear. They've got an issue with what is being said or what is being sung.
Yeah, but they're also trying to spin it, right? That, other supporters have got an issue with what's being said. What it is just this board with Patrick Stewart, the helmet, not wanting to upset UEFA or the new owners, and they're buying down to them because the reality, we know UEFA, man, right? You see it across the board. It's like, see if you put out a banner or sing songs that they don't agree with or pyro, you get fucking fined. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but why can't they just come out and say, here's the songs that were being sung and we condemn this.
Plausible deniability. I really don't know what they want.
Yeah, but how are the fans? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say these fans are singing inappropriate stuff, right? Or maybe they don't feel it's inappropriate, but the board and the club do. How are you supposed to stop if you're not being told what you're doing wrong? Like, how I don't understand how the club are expecting this issue, and I'm assuming there is an issue or else this statement wouldn't have been made, but how do they expect it to get resolved if they're not addressing what the problem is?
If you don't know what you need to address and how can you address it, and that's pretty much the point here. It's like, we don't know. I tell you what, man, I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it in my comments. A lot of people aren't happy about this new Rangers direction and board, and it's like, what do they want? Do they want it turning into a fucking tourist league?
Right. Let's say you're going to work, right, and you're doing a 10-hour shift, and like you're spending the 10 hours, talking away, creating conversations with all your colleagues. Then at the end of the day, the manager pulls you in and goes, there was a few things there that were, inappropriate, or whatever, and if it's like talked about again, might have to take action, but the manager doesn't address like what it was. It could be anything.
Yeah. No, I agree, and that's the problem. And until they actually hit the nail on the head and say what it is you do not want being sung, then it's probably going to continue to get sung.
Even if they do address it, I mean, there's a good chance it'll get sung anyway, but I just don't understand this statement. I don't know why the club just didn't come out and say what their concerns were, and I think that's a better way to go about it.
So it's completely to do with the new owners.
Rather than come out with this like real generalization of a statement.
Well, put it this way, I know for a fact it will not be the last time we are out here talking about this Rangers board and having a go at their own supporters. I can guarantee that.
Anyway, guys, let us know down below what you think this is. What is it they want to be stopped? And yeah, it looks like the Rangers club are saying that this could result in some stands being, or some sections even of a stand being taken away, being cut off. Could also lead to the season ticket holders in that section being charged financially to cover any sort of costs that maybe Rangers could be facing a fine from, or something along those lines. Anyway, that's it, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Until then, let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. Leave a like, leave a subscription, and until next time, peace.